Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today I am going to be starting a new series with you guys. I like to have little series that are just kind of in the middle and I can come back to every few weeks and months when I have time. I have one series already in the making called my Revisiting series, where we take iconic makeup from the not so distant past and bring it back out again, dust it off, and make good use of it. But today, like I said, I am starting a brand new series, and this one is going to be my color series, starting with Charlotte Tilbury, the greens. Let me explain to you how I got to this. I was sitting right over there on the floor with all of my Charlotte Tilbury palettes, eye palettes, as you do, and I was looking through them and I was thinking how many browns and coffees and coppers she does, and she does them so well. And I was thinking about how we all go, oh, Charlotte makes the same palette over and over. We do the same with Huda Beauty, don't we? Here it is again, same palette. And we all say that about Charlotte Tilbury, that all she does is browns and coppers, and she does them well. She does. But I started looking through and I thought, there's a lot of color buried in Charlotte Tilbury palettes. There's purples and blues and greens. And I started getting out all of the greens. That is what made me think about doing a color Charlotte Tilbury, or any other brand that I think of, series. So we are starting today, as I said, with Charlotte Tilbury, the greens. There's a lot of greens. Now, let me tell you, we're going to look at them all here. I laid out all of my Charlotte Tilbury quads and the 12 pans, all of my palettes from her, and looked for anything that I thought was green. Now, this could be a little bit subjective. How we perceive color sometimes is different, sometimes is culturally different. My husband is from Great Britain and will often say something is orange that I definitely think is red, and will sometimes say something is blue that I definitely think is green. So I do actually think there can be a cultural difference in how we perceive color. So what I went with is the way my eye perceived green. And some of these greens are brownish green, there can be gray greens. So as I go through all the Charlotte Tilbury greens, I encourage the dialogue below. Tell me where you disagree, tell me what I might have left off, and make suggestions for future brands and future colors. We've got a lot more to do with Charlotte, but I would love to always have your input. So let's get started. I've got arm swatches, and we're gonna recreate this look, which I have done using almost all, really all, green shades from different Charlotte Tilbury products. Okay, but first, the Disco Eyes. Do you remember the Icon palette? Funnily enough, I mentioned my Revisiting series, and the very first one I did was on the Icon palette, so it's probably a good place to start. Do you remember? It has a green. That's right, it does. The prime shade, like you would ever use this to prime, from the Disco Eyes. Can you imagine that as a priming shade all over your lid? That would be a bit much, but I guess it would be disco. So the prime shade in the disco line of the Icon palette is green. Who knew? We're going to look at an arm swatch of it. Then we, do you remember the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize? That was this blue 12 pan. There's some greens in it. The Dream Glow here, let me put your attention right there to the Dream Glow, has two greenish, khaki-ish shades. Again, can be subjective, but wait till you see the arm swatch, guys. They are they're green. Green gold, green beige, they're green, they really are. How about the Starlight palette of pops? See, this is kind of fun because you know I like to revisit things, and there's a little bit of that going back in here. The Starlight palette of pops has two shades, the Smoke and the Pop shade, that are actually, guys, kind of green. They're kind of green. They really are. Those are green. Those are green. Now, of course, you knew I was going to put the Rebel in here. So we got two Rebel palettes. We got the original Rebel, which all but one shade is beyond green. Of course, the prime shade right here is not, but all of the others, nobody can argue that those are green, green, green. Well, they don't make this Rebel anymore. I tried not to use it. I can't even link it. I think you can get it maybe on eBay or something. Make sure it's real. I don't know if I trust that. Charlotte redid it. She called it the Rebel, and then she also called it Green Lights, which is slightly tricky because they were the exact same palette. Exact They just have like a different sticker on the back. This one is, it's kind of khaki. There's a gold in there as well, but the other shades are pretty brownish green, khaki green, right? Camouflagey green. So you can see why I said that these can get a bit subjective, because there are people who would look at those shades and go, that's brown, Rebecca. Yeah, green brown, gray brown for sure. I mean, if we had to go with something that the whole world would think was green, we would stick with the original Rebel, which isn't even made anymore, or certainly this Disco Prime shade, I guess, from the Icon palette. Well, what I want to do now, I want to do two things. I want to show you every one of these green shadow shades laid out on my arm so you can see how Charlotte does green in every incarnation and every incantation. And then I want to, for fun, recreate with you a look, the eye look we have here that was done using only Charlotte greens and her dual-ended green eyeliner pencil. So we got a lot to get into. Let's look at all these greens lined up. Okay, I want to mix a few greens, but I'm not trying to be silly here. So I'm just kind of going in first with the Dream Glow of the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize and just kind of priming the eyes. I mean, I know I want to use all green here, of course, but we're also not trying to do some sort of a joke or a costumey look. So you do have to, I don't want a dark green all over my lids. That would be a little bit silly. And then I kind of just want to go in with the second shade in the Dream Glow, which is the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize palette. So this is a greenish shade, and I'm just it's a kind of a green gray, and I'm just kind of going in to set things up here because, again, like I said, I'm not trying to make some sort of a silly or make a mockery of it. I just want to do a green look, but I do want to get some of the real greens in there, and I'm not certain how that will look. I'm a little nervous. Let's get this green out of the Icon palette, shall we? And let's see what we can do with it. I want to just kind of put it on the eyelid. Yeah, that'll work, right guys? That'll work. And I used my finger because it's kind of an emollient shade. So let's be a bit more direct and going on the lid. And this is that very green shade again from the Icon palette. Well, that's looking kind of pretty. I was a little bit nervous because, like I said, I did not want this to be kind of a mockery. That wasn't the idea at all. The idea was to actually make a look with only green, and so far we did prime the lids with something other than green, but we're just really using green. Let's go under the eyes with one of the shades here from our Rebel Revisited palette. I actually have to check the back because some of these greens are starting to look the same. So that's a slightly different color, why not? I also, I mean, it's not bad. I don't know if it's what I would be my go-to. Now, I have so many little pops that I can use, and I want to make sure I use something that's green. So let's go for the pop in the Rebel shade and just kind of stick it in the middle there. I have a lot of shimmery emollient shades. That's kind of a golden green. It kind of works. Let me line with a Charlotte Tilbury green, the dual-ended green eyes liner. And then let's talk about all this green stuff we got going on here, froggies. Okay, here is the finished look, and I have a lot to say about it. I finished it off, of course, with this dual-ended green lights pencil, also by Charlotte Tilbury, which I don't reach for that much, so it was kind of fun to get that back out. Here's my thoughts, which I kind of, amazed myself a little bit. This to me looks like a traditional Charlotte Tilbury eye. Here's what I mean by that. If you are a Charlotte Tilbury lover, and if you're watching this video, you probably are, you will know that she has a real signature eye look, and it's usually done with browns and coppers and kind of reddish coppers and burnt brown type looks. I did this entirely with green, but I feel that if I met another makeup lover on the street, they would know this is a Charlotte eye. It looks, to me, very Charlotte Tilbury. Now, I did use, as you know, the prime shade from the Dream Glow and the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize, which is kind of a cream color, but just to kind of, you know, prime the eye. But other than that, this is all different greens from her eye palettes. She does some interesting things with color and still keeps it very Charlotte Tilbury. So this is going to be a fun series. We have a few more colors from Charlotte Tilbury to do. We're gonna dive into some purples and blues and things like that. And then we'll start in on some other brands as well. So I do hope you stick around for the other episodes that will be coming up in the coming weeks and months. If you did enjoy this, leave me a note below so that I know. Give this video a thumbs up as well if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel as it helps me build and grow. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.